Hey guys, Sugar John coming at you with another Infinite Magicraid video. This one, I'm going to have my good friend J-Town actually on the video, guys. Known him for a while now, back in our good old days of Summoner's Glory. I wanted to have him on the channel. He's been covering this game and playing the game since the beta. He took a small break, he came back to it, he's been going hard in the paint on it. And I wanted to get his perspective because we both have a background of playing gacha games anyways. So let's talk about what makes this game maybe different, incorporates other aspects of other games that makes it fun, and just in general, just kind of talk about what this game may have to offer for you, the viewer.
Infinite Magicraid covers a lot of things. It's got idle aspects and the grind of a regular gacha, so it's kind of a hybrid more than most. I've talked to other content creators, and they seem to agree that, you can play this game for 30 minutes a day, or if you've got the resources, you can play for 5-6 hours a day. So it really covers a broader spectrum of mobile gamers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's I think when we're talking about Infinite Magicraid, like, don't get me wrong, I come from Summoner's Glory, I come from Waking Chaos era, Raid Shadow Legends. I know you got a background in that as well. Summoner's War. I played a little bit of AFK Arena, and I never really got too much into the idling games. I could never really get into those, but I like the fact that this one has that hybrid mix to it. It's taken a lot of what Raid did right and then kind of mixed together with a little bit of idleness and some background stuff running without interrupting your gameplay a lot. And I feel like that to me has been a lot of fun with the game in general.
Oh yeah, 100%. I completely agree. And I actually played AFK Arena pretty hard for about 6 months, and it's nice to see some of those features come in, but also that feel of Raid Shadow Legends where you want to get a new hero and then you finally get them. You're like, yes, I have them, and then you can spend time leveling them up. So it's got all those little caveats that people draw to. It's really a good mix of things.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's got a lot of it, and the depth in this game so far has been pretty good. I mean, I think as of recording this, I think I'm like day 9 into the game so far, and I'm just now getting like stuck, kind of. I was fortunate; I got a good lineup here, and whatnot, so that was pretty nice nice for me, anyways. But it seems like there's a lot in depth to do in the game. Like, we're not getting the same thing on repeat, so to speak, right? They're switching it up. There's something that's more actively engaging. I noticed there's mini games that have been dropping and stuff like that. So I think the way they set this up, it may be a little bit more fun for a lot of players because it doesn't seem like it's going to get stale. What do you think, or how do you feel about it? You've been playing it longer than I have? Have you gotten into like the repetition of the game, or is it still kind of keeping it a little bit fresh for you?
It definitely keeps it fresh, and I think the biggest reason is there's a lot more defined areas in the game where you need to progress, and like you hit a wall, but you don't actually have to go through that wall. You can kind of go to the side and sidestep and come out from a different viewpoint, like the Tower of Mark, or your PvP, or your campaign. Like, we all know Raid Shadow Legends, and you had to complete certain quests to get your Arbiter, but there was only like really one path to Arbiter, but you knew when you got her, it was game changing. Well, in this game, their version of Arbiter, if you will, is called Catherine, and she is a god tier unit. I've got her. She will literally change the way you play the game, but there are quite literally 3 different pathways to get to her, and if you're having a hard time at one, you can go at it from another one. So I actually achieved her from the Tower of Mark, and another friend of mine, the Dark X, he's one of the top in the server. We both got her from that before we came back to the campaign to get her that way. So you can always go at a different angle in this game, whereas other games, not so much.
Gotcha. So yeah, you're talking about the avenues here. So Tower of Mark, where you can get multiple copies here, but you can also get the same character in other spots. They haven't gate capped it to where like you have to complete this one section of the game to kind of unlock another character that we're saying is god tier. And as far as I'm aware, this character isn't in the pool, right? Like, don't you have to complete one of these to actually get this character?
Correct. There are 2 characters like that in the game, and that is one, Catherine, and she is literally better than all the mythics in my opinion because the mechanics she has is unique to her. And there's another character, lesser known, called Agatha, that she comes from the faction Abyss, and you've got to get really deep. Like, most people will not see her for at least a year into the game, but she's not in the summon pool either.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's cool.
They are game-changing level characters.
Gotcha. So that'll be down here.
Yep.
Yeah, I just unlocked the faction Abyss, and it's been fun. I enjoy it. It's kind of cool. So this chick here, okay, cool.
Oh
so
yeah.
The only way you can get this chick as well is through doing the faction Abyss. I like when they do this. I think Raid Shadow Legends did this with Lydia, one of their characters, and I think it was a good, in my opinion, it was a good way to entice the players to like play the game, right? To engage. It gives you a good reward, whereas other games, they don't really reward you a whole lot for achieving like talents or say like completing certain objectives, right? Like you may get a little bit of energy, you may get like a piece of gear here or there. You won't get a whole lot. Like it doesn't yield you a lot of I don't know, I guess dopamine, we'll say, for completing a task, right? So this way, this keeps you kind of task oriented, and you're like, hey, I really want to get this character, and this is the only way I can get this character. And now you're going to dig deep, you're going to work on it, you're going to, you know, like you said, you're going to take something from a different angle to maybe upgrade your characters, get some more permanent talents, whatever the case may be, to really push the envelope of actually raising your account, right? Like, and I think it's kind of cool the way they've got that set up. And I think it's also kind of cool, like I've got this talent tree set up or pulled up here. This is getting applied for everyone, for all the different marks they are. You have the class talents for defense, attack, support, and these are permanent stats to the characters. Like, I think...
Oh, yeah.
I think they've done a good job of trying to balance that a little bit. So now you have, like, they're keeping that more objective type gameplay more open and available to a lot of us players, because we know, oh, if we play this game mode, in this case, Arena, which no one, like, unless you're competitive, not a whole lot of people like to play Arena. But the fact that you're going to get these permanent stats and increases, and you get two different ones, right? One for 3v3, one for individual. I think it makes a big difference. I mean, obviously class talents here, but then mark talent, this comes from the tower.
PvE, the tower mark, yeah. Now, unlike Raid Shadow Legends, which had a great haul, and I mean, if you've ever played Raid Shadow Legends in a serious way, you know you have to develop the great haul to make it long term in that game. But in this, it's almost like Great Haul is in a PvP and a PvE version, and both are important. And even if you're only fighting through the first lower tiers of the arena, you're still going to gain those things for wins, and it doesn't seem as daunting because you're going to make little steps. Where in like Raid Shadow Legends, it's like, okay, I don't get the next little upgrade till I get like 300 more wins in the arena, and for some people that's a huge turnoff. But literally, you can get on this game, and in one day, you can do some fights and have points to go spend in a way that improves all the characters in your account. So on one hand, you've got where you're competing against people in PvP or for, you know, who can progress the fastest, but also you're just in competition with yourself to try to break through those next tiers and achieve the next thing. And that's a great thing because it appeals to both audiences. Or if you're like us, where you like both of those things, it's just, you can double dip.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they definitely took advantage of that. They took a deeper dive and look into what's going to keep the player base kind of active. I think this is going to help with the general like longevity of the game itself, because a lot of these games, like I covered Awakened Chaos Era, and that's a fun game. However, it kind of died off because people got tired of doing the same thing over and over again. Like they started getting bored, right? They felt like it wasn't as engaging. But whereas Infinite Magicraid, it seems like it's pretty engaging. Yeah,
that's a great way, because Ace is probably the next best thing after Raid. And I played heavily throughout the beta and then early into launch with the vouchers and all that, but it never could quite, I couldn't put my finger on it. It never could quite hook me like IMR did. I don't know what it was, maybe because you didn't feel like you were hitting those benchmarks. You didn't feel like you were punching through those walls. You felt like the only thing you were doing is, oh, now instead of doing level 21 in a dungeon, I can now do level 22. That's all I've achieved this week. But I feel like in IMR, every day I'm making strides or achieving something, and it feels like a bigger overall package.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, because obviously playing Ace and covering it for a long time, it's I know that game in the back of my hand, and it was fun. It engaged with me, but unfortunately when you get a game that gets too repetitive within the first month or two, like I was able to buy everything from the beginning and then max out, and then what was I left with? You know what I mean? Like at that point I was done, and it was super free to play friendly, which is great. But same thing with free to play. Like people were maxing out. They were getting to the point where there was no more strategy needed. It was just literally log in, click a button. And when you have that type of engagement, it definitely is a kind of a turnoff where people aren't going to want to log in and play the game because, well, what's the point? You've beaten where you're at. You've done all the content for now. You're waiting on an update that may or may not come. And that kind of just burns people out of it, right? Like, it's kind of like we waited for Summoner's Glory. That was a great game. It had a lot of great things going for it, but it took so long to get an update that by the time they happened, 90% of the player base was gone. So I feel like IMR's got enough going on right now that's keeping everyone engaged, and they're rotating it. I mean, we've got this, what is this? This, whatever this trio match minigame is, which is actually kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like, so here in 20 seconds this will respond, but this is the second mini game I played so far with this game, and I've only been playing it for 9 days. Like, the fact that they're mixing these kind of things in here to keep us active and engaging, I think is really, I think that's key to making a successful game that has some staying power or will have the longevity to keep people around. I really do.
100%. And you mentioned earlier engagement. That's the thing. It's like with games like Ace or Raid, you get to a certain point where the only source of dopamine, and let's be real, gacha games exist because of the dopamine rush.
Right.
Only if you can hit or pull the next champion or hero you needed for progress. Like, okay, my account is kind of stonewalled. I need a Krisk or I need Valk. And if I don't pull it, it's white noise. But in this game, I feel like the champions are more diverse. There's so many more aspects where you can grow. There are more sources of progress. Like, you hit those walls. Like, you know when you make an accomplishment, just like in your videos you've done the last few days, like, yes, we made progress. And you get that psychness about it more than just when you summon a new hero. And that's one of the golden things IMR has going for it.
Oh, for sure. And I think that really helps. I think it also helps, too, that they've already identified, elites are always food in this game, which I think is good, because you get a lot of people who then they kind of they spread themselves really thin with the epics, the legendaries, the elites. Granted, there are a lot of champions in this game. But I feel like the quality of champions is a little bit better. There's a lot of diversity. I just went through and we've been making a tier list right now, like a pretty encompassing tier list. And as I'm reading everyone's kits, there's a lot of synergy out there. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of trash characters out there, but you're going to have that, right? Everyone has to have the fodder legendaries, the fodder epics that are just garbage. But the diversity they have going, even with the characters and the potential synergy options that you can see, are pretty almost outrageous as far as possibilities. On top of, we have an awakened system, we have an exclusive system, and then your emblems, which is your mastery trees, right? From those coming from Raid. There's a lot of combinations that can go into everything to can keep the wheels turning, right? You know for a fact you're not going to get locked into one unit or one particular build that's going to carry you through everything, where you're going to be able to diversify to accomplish the same goal, right? That in itself, I think, is a major stepping stone in a game like this to keep it and give it that longevity.
Correct, and they also force you to do that because, for example, you go to Towers of Mark, and in certain levels, it's a different boss type where, okay, this one might have just the beefiest shield you've ever heard of, and if you've invested into an HP burner, but you can't bust through the shield, you're not going anywhere. So then you have to go find a single target nuker or a couple of them, or a shield stripper. So you can't ever have one team that'll excel in everything in this game. You can have pretty good teams, but you have to diversify. You have to think of new combos. You have to say, okay, what do I have? Who can do what? I need to bring them in. The synergies in this game and the combinations you come up with, I think, even kind of make RSL look a little juvenile in that department as far as combos go. Now you could get some crazy ass stuff going on in their version of Guild Boss. I'm having a brain fart what they called it, but with the unkillable teams, you can't do unkillables in this game, but you can get some crazy combinations. But Guild Boss is not the challenge in here. I smoke the Guild Boss in this game, but the Guild Boss, I call him a loot pinata. If you've seen my content, I refer to him as the loot pinata. The real test in this game is, okay, can you bust through level 23 of your Towers of Mark? If you can bust through level 23 of Towers of Mark, you've got your stuff together. If you can farm 25 in the dungeons, you've got your stuff together. So it's just a different, the checkpoints for yourselves are different and more diversified in IMR, and I think that's the draw to it. I've heard criticisms like, oh, the graphics are more mature in RSL, but not everybody likes that. I actually like the character design in this game. I like it a lot.
Yeah, see, and I don't mind it. So I'm not someone where I'm not that picky when it comes to the avatars or the aesthetic of the game. More so, I look more at what kind of synergy do the kits give me? What type of combinations do I get going there? I do like that it has a little definition. If this was blocky, what was Dragon Champions. I tried that one for a little bit. They sponsored me to try to play that one for a minute. Like, that was really blocky. I didn't like that. But this modeling reminds me of a lot of like the Wicked Chaos era, which was totally fine with me. Like, I think that's a good bar to hit for these types of games. Obviously, Raid has a higher budget when it comes to artistic stuff, and that's why everything looks a little bit more detailed. But even then, they still have champions from their original launch that look like crap, right? And it's just like, so at the end of the day, like, everyone's going to have that struggle, and it's just about like, where are you going to spend your money? Are you going to spend millions upon millions of dollars on increasing your characteristics, or are you going to do that with development on the game characteristics and the actual in-depthness of your product versus just the aesthetic? And I think that's a drawback where 9 out of 10 times the actual gameplay itself takes precedent, in my opinion. So these graphics to me, they're fine. They're totally not an issue whatsoever.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you.
Yep. I did think it was kind of cool. So I've never seen this in any game I've ever played, where if I click this little button here that was right over my head, and it actually pops up with the game circle, like you can actually upload your videos and someone can watch them while they're playing.
Oh yeah, I thought
that was just awesome. I
that
really
did
thought it
exist
was
in
cool.
beta. It's a new thing with global, and actually didn't come online until a few weeks into global. But that is really cool. It gets content creators a little more exposure, and you don't actually have to be a content creator to do that. Anybody
Yeah, I
can, as
saw that.
long as
Yeah,
you follow their
so
guidelines. It's a beautiful thing.
yeah. Yeah, which I think is really cool. And it's linked right to your Google account. So if you're using Google on your account, you pop it up there. Like, I uploaded one that's got to get approved today or whatever, whenever that gets popped up there. You can see it in review
The only
here.
thing I haven't looked into is if it counts as an external view or an actual view count on the video
Well,
itself.
that's why I'm curious. I want to see what it does. If this one gets approved, I'm going to have someone click on it and we'll see what it actually gives you. But I think it's really cool. Like, the fact that they're allowing you, because a lot of these types of games don't allow you to do stuff in the background while you're running. Whereas in this one, I can come up here and I can go to a dungeon and I can say I want to farm like 2 or 3 runs of this, and it'll auto farm for me, and then I can go and do something else. So let's say, for example, you're just kind of messing around and you didn't want to leave the app and you wanted to do a multi-battle. Well, you can come over here and do a multi-battle, set it, forget about it, come back out to the main, go watch a video or something like that while it's waiting to get done. Or go check out your gallery and whatever, which I think is huge.
And tomorrow, in the patch, it's going to be even better because you can go do PvP while you're multi-battling a dungeon. So it's going to get much better.
Yep. Yeah, I forgot about that. That is part of tomorrow's patch. So that's going to be a huge improvement, right? Because then you can do farming and then PvP, and then you're literally knocking things out at the same time. Because a lot of people run into that that problem of, okay, with the time sync of like, well, okay, I'm going to do my arena now, and then I'm going to do my dungeons later. Like, it's a time sync. Now I can do it in tandem, and that's awesome, right? You know?
Oh yeah. Yep, 100%. I agree with you.
Yep. So no, I definitely agree. So before we go ahead and wrap it up, I do want to go ahead and ask you, so what is it that you think really keeps you and captivates you when Infinite Magicraid? I know we've been talking about it here for a minute, but what's if you had to give me one aspect of the game that is really like fun for you or that you enjoy about it, what is it?
I feel like in Infinite Magicraid, as far as in this style in the gacha the mobile environment, like unlike Summoner's Glory we played, which was a different style, in the style that Raid Shadow Legends really modeled and everybody kind of emulates. In this game, I feel like via my effort and theory crafting my teams and all the emblems and different things, I can achieve more with my own personal thought and skill than I can in other games. Whereas in Raid Shadow Legends, there is some of that, but I feel like it's the luck of the draw with the heroes you get. But in this game, I've taken some epics and done some amazing things. In this game, you really feel like you achieve things, you break your own personal records, and that keeps you coming back to try it again the next day. You know, and I think they've got a perfect handle on that. Now, there's some criticisms, they're working out the pricing. I think while Raid Shadow Legends did create the system everyone emulates for a good reason, like WoW perfected the MMO UI, right? Raid Shadow Legends perfected the gameplay, but unfortunately Raid Shadow Legends and Plarium also kind of said, oh, this is how you make money from this. So people try to think they can be Raid Shadow Legends
baseline, right?
Correct. And then, well, we're Raid Shadow Legends too, we want to make money like them, and they forget you kind of have to earn it. So there's still a struggle in the genre in general. But I think as far as a game, if you ignore the pricing and just look at the gameplay, this one is by far in this genre the best that I've played yet.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think I've been really enjoying it for sure. I feel like it's I'm in the honeymoon phase still, right? It's early. I'm free to play, which is something that I've never done in my life when it comes to games like these. Who knows? Maybe that'll change. But no, in general, I think this one, I see a lot more potential for this. I know a lot of people, and me and Chosen and a couple other content creators, we talk about this all the time, where we're surprised no mobile gacha game has come out with a game that is basically Raid Shadow Legends emulated, because they've cornered the market. They've really shown everybody how you make a mobile gacha game. I feel like,
And that's a great point, because MMOs has the same problem in the genre that we all know. WoW is the king of MMOs. It always will be. You can never deny it. They've had the biggest subscription numbers ever. We're not talking about EVO Online. That's a different thing. But they perfected the system, and then too many MMOs, when they come out, you're like, okay, you've got a great story, you've got great characters, but then they try to be different for the sake of being different, and you'll fall flat on your face. Like, nobody invented the wheel after the wheel, because the wheel is perfect. You never make a wheel 2. You've already got the wheel. Just make better stuff that goes along with the wheel. Make a better hubcap. Make a better suspension system, but the wheel is the wheel.
exactly.
So
And
I think IMR gets it right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they get that, and that's good. Like, that's what you want to see. I know a lot of people out there will say, "Well, they're copying it." Well, yeah, I mean, they should. If they set when someone sets the standard, right, then you want to adopt the standard, and yeah, put your own little twist on it. And as I'm playing this game, I can feel that this is not Raid Shadow Legends. At first, I thought it was like, oh wow, they carbon copied it, but no. As I'm playing it, they didn't carbon copy it at all. It does have a slight twist on it, but they've taken a lot of the elements that they did right, and they've added in other elements that I feel like other games did right, like with the AFK type things, right? Like the developers of this game, their first major successful game was an idle game, right? So they understand what idle games need to have to be successful. So the fact that they had that in their corner, and then on top of they created a game like this, like they've got the resources available at hand, and I think they're going to utilize them. Like, I think this game will definitely have some longevity for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. The only thing that at the moment that I think Raid Shadow Legends does better is their advertising, but they're so huge. Some of the ads for this game go a little bit on the cringe side. You know, that's the whole mobile genre, like the Facebook ads and whatnot. You have to just chuckle at them.
Oh yeah, you got to. And honestly, at this point, like if the ad for games like this isn't a meme, then it's just not going to go over well. So it's fine. It's kind of to be expected at this point. But but yeah, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it up here. I think we had a lot of great discussion. We had a lot of good talks so far. You want to go ahead and let all the viewers know where they can find you? I know you are making content. Do you want to let them know like where you're making content at? And what kind of socials can they reach you at? And I'm going to have all your stuff pinned down below. But go ahead and let all the viewers know where they can find you.
Beautiful. It's very easy to find me. I am jtown7 on all platforms. I am jtown7, whether it's on Twitch or YouTube. Those are the only services I'm on right now. I don't have any of the other socials because I'm not big. I just recently got to the 1,000 subs. Thank you, y'all. So yeah, you can find me at jtown7. Just type that in. You'll see me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the channel, buddy, and doing this collab with me. I appreciate it. I kind of wanted to do this. I wanted to do this back in the day when we were covering Summoner's Glory, and we never got the chance to. So I'm glad that we're both covering a game together, that we can go ahead and we can have this little meetup. And thanks so much for coming on, man.
Beautiful. Anytime you want a game and have a bourbon, I'm here for you, man.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. That's going to do it for us, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.